there's a big money cash out fight, and who knows what he's going to do. I know for a fact we'll see him again at some point.
Hello and welcome to Last Bowl Boxing, joined by who now regular Brett. How you going, Brett? Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are.
It's just good morning here, but yeah, mate, I'm doing good. I'm doing great, thanks.
Good. So we were meaning to get this video over the line for a while. I know you're keen to talk about this topic. So we're going to be talking all things AJ. And is he going to fight Jake Paul? Is he not? And where he is generally in his career at the minute. So, Brett, I know you've got a few opinions on this. So I'm going to hand the baton straight over to you, fella. So let's start with the Jake Paul fight. Give us your thoughts on that and whether it happens.
So obviously, we've been trying to get this going, but schedules haven't aligned. So my opinion might have changed about it slightly in a sense. I think it was, once again, regardless of what we think of him as a boxer, I think it was a genius PR move by Jake Paul, because the next day he then proceeded to start announcing, or 2 days later, started announcing female fighters. So it was brilliant. It was brilliant, you know. And no doubt he's probably sent, because allegedly they are somewhat friendly. He's probably sent AJ a private message saying, look, I had to do what I had to do there. And AJ understands the business of promotion. So I don't think there's any legs in that one, mate. I don't think that one, you know, I was surprised and shocked at the time. But then more and more I've settled down from it. I think it's just, once again, it's promotional from Paul.
Is it the old adage, Brett, there's no such thing as bad PR?
Yeah, exactly, mate. You know, ultimately, if you're making noise and we're all, you'll kill him inside 10 seconds and sharing, liking, commenting, and then 2 days later, us in the game that love boxing have actually patted him on his back, saying, calling him the savior of women's boxing. So one day we're saying he's going to get knocked clean spark out, and 2 days later we're saying good on him for resurrecting women's boxing.
And I think it was Floyd Mayweather that says it doesn't matter if you're being spoken about in good terms or bad terms. It's better than not being spoken about at all, right?
And look, he's been smashed to bits, Jake Paul. Well, AJ has. We'll come on to that. But he's been smashed to absolute bits with people saying you've never fought a real boxer. But once again, whether us purists like it or not, he's constantly being spoken about in the boxing world. And we either get on side with it or we just shut up. I mean, I'm still, you know, in terms of if I went to watch him 10th on a bill on a show and he was fighting another journeyman, I'd be like, oh, this kid's all right. You know, he's got something. But obviously that ain't going to sell him big fights. So he's got to kind of start pulling people out. And who was the latest big name that he's supposed to be pulling out? Klitschko, or was that April Fool's?
Yeah. The one that jumped out to me was Tommy Fury trying to get a rematch, which again suggests to you that Jake Paul is a money in the room, right? That's why, you know, a lot of fighters associate themselves with him.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I think Eddie and AJ would have took that fight if it was serious, because, you know, after the last time AJ was out, and as we know, I get the banter on our channel of me being a fanboy, but the last time he was out, AJ got extremely exposed. No defense, terrible game plan. I'm not going to start hating on Ben Davidson because I think he's an unbelievable young coach. But he did, you know, telling him to roll the dice in the fifth is not a seasoned, experienced coaching decision. You know, it should have been tuck up, get your legs back, hold him a little bit, and then take him in the later rounds. But again, that's me, who's a fan and done a little bit on the amateur scene, whereas I shouldn't be saying that about Ben Davison because of the fight and the things that he's
you're
done.
Entitled to your view, Brett. You're entitled to your view, because I've often thought I would never hear Derek James saying that if he was still in AJ's corner. So I don't think it was Ben Davison's greatest hour. But all trainers do it, right? They all have an off night at the office.
Yeah, exactly. And so you know, obviously moving on from that, you know, what next for him now? And I'll be honest, as a fan of him and Matchroom, I think you know, Eddie at a time resurrected the UK scene onto the more global scene. over the last few years. And it's great to see Frank coming back into it now, and the fact that they're all getting on and they're all friends with or without Turkey. They seem to be friends, which is great. It's great for boxing. It's great for us fight fans.
We can't have another rebuild, though, can we? We can't have another AJ 2.0.
No, listen. There's no stepping back. But the concerning thing for me is what I'm seeing from Eddie now is, oh, he's injured and da 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 da, and Eddie don't want to put any names in his mouth. Whereas as soon as that loss happened, Eddie was like, right, let's have Dubois, let's have Parker, let's go. And then something's gone off somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if it's psychological on AJ's side, but now all of a sudden Eddie don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Brett, how many fighters get into get in between the ropes on fight night 100% without any niggles? Very few. And we've never heard this before from AJ, where always he's got a slight tweak or injury, so he's not punching at the minute. We've never heard any of that before. So a few red flags for me. I feel stalling for Tyson. That's my honest opinion.
Look, there's a big money cash out fight, and who knows what he's going to do. I know for a fact we'll see him again at some point, Tyson. You know that for the fact that, you know, if we're following him on his socials, he's running every single day. He loves it, you know. And I give him a lot of crap over the years of just because of his drama tactics that I've not always agreed with, but boxing is his life, and you can tell that regardless of how much money he's got in the bank. You know, I seen something the other day. He went out with his missus to the gym in the morning, and then in the afternoon he's taking his kid for a 5-mile run. So, you know, he loves it, and I think he needs that. And at some point he might wake up, as we all know Tyson does, and say, let's go. And at that point, win, lose or draw, AJ, whatever condition AJ's in, he's going to take it because he knows it's a huge cash out fight. And I never thought I'd hear myself talking like this about AJ, to be honest. I thought he was a bit of a warrior, and because he, regardless of eras, and you know, this hasn't been a great era for heavyweight boxing, blah blah blah. If you look at AJ's resume, he's fought the best at the time that they were the best. The only one he hasn't got on his resume is obviously Wilder, because he had 3 fights.
Klitschko wasn't his best, so was he, fella?
He absolutely wasn't. Tyson had already dethroned him.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that, you know, at the time, Povetkin was quite feared. He took him on. Takam wasn't on the massive slide as a late replacement. You know, Parker was game as hell back then. Yeah. And he took on, and then everyone's saying, why the hell did you take on Usyk? You should have swerved him like the plague. And he said, no. Let's take that one while we're waiting for the Wilder and Fury fight. And obviously, levels are levels, and he got exposed. But I've always had him down for being a bit of a warrior. But that Dubois, and they always say it, if you listen to good coaches and former fighters, sometimes there's that one fight that knocks it out of you.
Yeah, but I still wonder, Brett, how much of it was that Dubois was. I'm not sure where you draw the line regarding Dubois being good and AJ having an absolute stinker. I think people just need to calm down on Dubois a little bit. Don't get me wrong, good performance, but let's not pretend he's the next coming and he's the savior of boxing, because I think he caught AJ on a very off night.
And absolutely spot on, Carl. Absolutely spot on. The only other theory I'd add to that is the sparring story, right? Of apparently AJ being dropped or dazed. And so a young, hungry pup has gone, I know how to get at him. I'm going to jump on him from round 1. What AJ didn't do right was understand that this young pup was going to try and drop him again. Took up, ride it out a little bit, gas him out, and then start using AJ's boxing skills. So I think you're absolutely right. I've said it numerous times on X that I'm still, as much as you got to give Dubois his props for bouncing back at whatever the low blow, whether wasn't it, regardless.
Yeah.
He came back, and Hrgović was a bit of a bogeyman, but he exposed him. Miller was not a bogeyman, but it was just somebody that was tough, durable, and a big absolute lump. And he sorted him out. So, and then, you know, you beat the cash cow of world boxing inside 5 rounds, and you knock him spark out. ultimately you've got to give him a pat on the back.
I think AJ underestimated him as well, Brett. I think he thought he'd walk through him, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, maybe he did. Well, but his style suggested that he thought he was going to do that, mate.
Yeah.
Even regardless of the sparring stories. I mean, AJ's coming off the back of looking good against Ngannou and against Wallin, and he thinks in his mind, a fighter's mind is, I'm destructible again. All I've got to do is land one punch on there. But he didn't read the other side of the game plan, where Dubois was completely obsessed with AJ, obsessed with him.
The only thing you can take away from that fight is the fact that he can hurt Dubois, because on that last exchange where he got took out, he did land a very good shot on Dubois. So he might take a bit of confidence away from that.
If he look, only going off what I feel about boxing, but he's really is 10 seconds away from, not from knocking him out, but 10 seconds away from changing the fight.
Yeah.
Because when he throws that hook from down near his hip, and he leaves everything open. If he'd have been a bit more poised on the fact that you're right, because Dubois' leg buckled, didn't it?
Yeah,
it buckled, and then he backed up. But I mean, it's a beautiful shot from him, straight on the chin, and I ironed him clean out. But
I'm not hating on Dubois. I'm not, I promise, but he has got that quit in him as well. Joe Joyce exposed that, right? Yeah, I know. Admittedly, very bad injury. Don't get me wrong, very bad injury. But he did take a knee.
Again, there's loads of people in the world now, and this is how fickle boxing is, mate. As you know, this is how fickle boxing is. AJ's done. He's finished. He's out there. He's gone. You forget him. Throw him to the scrap heap. He's done. Well, Parker gets beat by Joe Joyce, right? Gets beat by Dillian White. He's done. He's finished. But now we're talking about Parker being the next coming, right?
And Joyce timed him out, didn't he? That's how it was.
Completely. Joyce ironed him out. So Dubois quit off an eye injury. Fair enough. That's his prerogative, is saving his career. Whatever, you know, we don't have to be all macho about this. That's the decision he made. He's, for me, yes, the low blow is controversial, but ultimately Usyk stopped him with a jab. He stopped him with a stiff jab. And so, but now, because of those back-to-back wins, and then you beat the cash cow, now we're talking about Parker and Dubois being the two top men, other than obviously the one that sits above them all, the two top men. But boxing is that fickle that we rubbish and finish everybody off just because of the armchair fans like to say these type of things, because Parker was done and gone when Joe Joyce beat him. Done and gone.
So, Brett, you're AJ's manager for the next 2 weeks. Who would you be matching him up with to jump in with next?
It's like you said, though. There's no reason.
Let me throw a few at you then. Bacoli in Africa.
I take that. Yeah, I take that all day long.
Nice one to ease him back in. I think
take that one.
And the money's there.
And the global viewership on it as well. I mean, ultimately, I get why Bacoli took that big payday against Parker, but at the end of the day, he's just come straight off the sofa, and you know, I respect Billy and everything that Billy does, and he's been knocking on doors to get him that fight. But if they were talking that's just, they just took the money on that fight. It'd be interesting to see what Bacoli, the real Bacoli, looks like with a 12-week camp. But I personally feel, if AJ comes in like he came in against Wallin, like completely focused and laser sharped in, I think he beats Bacoli. So that would be a good one for me for him to come into.
What about Derek Chisora at Wembley, which is gathering a bit of pace, isn't it?
Not a fan of it, but at the end of the day, it's a massive payday for both of them, and AJ would fancy himself very highly in that fight. Del Boy looked extremely slow last out.
Yeah.
As much as he got the job done, fair play, he looked so slow. I mean, the shots were coming from here, and it was almost like, I know me and Daz were calling a bit of a conspiracy that Wallin was paid to get battered, because the shots were coming from here, and Wallin was just like, come on then, boom. But I mean, it's a good fight for the British fans, I suppose, and it'll sell out Wembley, and they'll earn a truckload of money. But you can't. You can take that fight and you can take the Africa fight, but you can't be taking anything up and coming, or you can't be taking
Keep away from things like Moses Atuma and people like that. Keep away from them. You can't win. Nothing to gain.
There's nothing to gain from fighting. Look, who really has got anything to gain from fighting Moses right now?
No,
because he's going to be the hardest fighter to match unless they throw him in way over his head like Parker. You know, you won't even see. There's no chance that Dillian White's going to take on Moses. Not a chance.
So we're talking September, they reckon, for the next AJ fight. So if you had to put your last dollar on it, do you like the way I switched it into your currency? Up there for thinking, down there for dancing. So if you had to put your last dollar on it, who would you be putting it on?
Yeah, I mean, it's a difficult one because I'm going to be contradicting myself because it might be Dillian White again. I don't know. They might pull somebody out. Do you know what I mean?
The Dillian White one's an intriguing one because you got a narrative behind it. It's one all. You don't like each other. And for me, the timing's right. Dillian White just pulled out of an injury.
Yeah.
And it's a good payday for them both. And I think it does good numbers at Wembley. They're both London lads. So I think it does good numbers. So I would go Dillian White. He's not even being mentioned at the minute, is it?
No, but it's a sellable fight, and it's as much as we don't want it AJ 0.7, 0.6, but that would be a rebuilding fight for him. That would be. And then if he's got nothing in that fight, then it is time to call it a day.
Yeah, if you don't beat Dillian White, I'm not sure where he goes, to be honest. So last one from me, non-AJ related. So Fabio Wardley is going to have an announcement on Monday regarding his next fight. Now, we all know it's Ipswich Town, Portman Road. Who do you think that opponent's going to be, Brett?
Are they going to throw? Who's got the IBF?
So Pulev's a WBA super, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's talks of him. Do you think there's anybody else in it? Now, Frank's threw a bit of a curveball by saying it may be an American.
Would that be Baby Miller?
Well, possibly, yeah. Wouldn't be Wilder. It wouldn't get Wilder over to Portland.
No, Wilder's way back in it. I think they're talking about getting Wilder out in September. It could be Baby Miller because of he signed with Queensberry.
I'm not sure, but I know Turk Al-Sheik's still quite a fan, even though Bacoli walked through him. So, yeah, if Turkey wants it to happen. I mean, Wardlow's an interesting one for me because he's proved me wrong time after time after time. I keep predicting he's going to get ironed out as he goes through the levels, and he keeps proving me wrong. But I do think there's a ceiling there, Brett. There is a ceiling. He likes to taste leather a bit too much for me.
Well, that's the thing. It could have, his tactics against Big Fraze was at the back of the pub at midnight when someone slapped his missus on the arse, and that he just went and backed him up and smashed him to bits.
Yeah.
I mean, you go in there with somebody, and this no disrespect, I know Fraser's got pedigree, but you go in there with somebody a bit special, that tactic might not work. However, I'm same as you. I keep writing him off. What is his ceiling? I suppose we'll find out. But I suppose if you're saying Americans, it could be Baby Miller or Jared Anderson.
Yeah, that's two who spring to mind for me. It'll be very interesting to see. Anything else on AJ then, Brett? I know. I won't call you fanboy because it's a bit unfair, but I know you're a fan of AJ, so obviously you can wave your AJ flag while we're doing this video. But if he does lose his next fight, whoever that's against, it's a long way back for him to finish off.
Yeah, I think, and the reason why I'm not, and I never have been, I've always been a realist with my support for AJ. I just like at a time, as a British boxing fan, at a time where we'd lost the Hattons, Calzaghes, Carl Frochers, and And then there was this, you know, he had everything at the Olympics. He come out there. He's a Adonis. He can speak well. He's straight on the scene. He's banging people out left, right, and center. And all of a sudden, he took a nation with him again, didn't he?
Yeah.
He took a bit of a nation with him. And you know, I feel like when he gets the stick to say he's lost 4 fights, well, so what? At the end of the day, when all said and done, and we're all still sat watching boxing, he's got hundreds of millions in the bank from what he's done.
And very few go through the career with it. Oh, right. Let's be honest. Very, very few.
I mean, this again with this, we'll keep this one brief, but that's the Floyd thing, isn't it? That's the Floyd. Floyd sorts got everybody thinking about the O. But the reality is when the best fight the best, especially in that heavyweight division. I mean, you've got Usyk. I don't see him being beat unless he's silly, mate, and he carries on.
Yeah, unless he hangs around too long. Yeah.
Yeah, but I reckon he's one more fight, whoever it is, whether it's Dubois, whether it's Parker. He's one more fight away from saying, I'm done now, but you lot have it. But yeah, no, just back onto the AJ thing. I hope he does fight again. And I hope it's not dropping down to like, you know, well, you don't want to, I suppose you don't want that. Dempsey, it's not Dempsey McKean. Who was the German boy? You don't want to go anywhere near him.
Caballero.
Yeah, Caballero. You don't want to be going near Caballero, not right now. But, you know, if he does have to drop levels down and we start seeing him in with the winner of Adelaide this weekend, I don't know. But, you know, that type of thing, I'll be disappointed.
I think that tarnishes legacy if he starts dropping to that level.
He can't, mate. He can't now. He can't unless you pull out another Ngannou's thing or Jake Paul, another fancy.
I'd rather him go out on his shield. I'd rather him go back in with Dubois and have another go with him. And if you don't win it, hang his gloves up, something like that, which is more credible, right?
You can't wait till 2026, though. Last thing I'll say, mate. You can't wait till 2026 for Tyson to say, you know what, I'm ready. He's got to have a fight this year.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Brett. Really appreciate your time. This has been Last Bell Boxing, sponsored by SC Travel and LW Liftings. We'll see you on the next video. Cheers, Brett.